Michael Leppert is an Indianapolis author, just released the book, The Edge of Motherland. And this is a really interesting one because of the time frame that it takes place and kind of the whole message of this book. Tell me what led you to write The Edge of Motherland.
Well, first of all, not coming back to the show on an empty stomach. This is
we have a lot of food on the show.
Yeah, it's surrounded by it. It's awesome. I was writing essays and columns during 2020, and so when the pandemic started, I knew that for a columnist, I wanted to sort of collect those stories throughout the year because I knew it was going to be one of those years that we would look back on and say, "Do you remember this?" And so that's how it started. But I had published the following year my first novel and decided that storytelling was big storytelling was my preference as opposed to little segments. So I converted my columns and some of my experiences into a fictional story that I think people might enjoy a little bit more deeply.
And anytime you talk to someone about 2020, really 2020 to 2023-ish, everyone's like, it feels like a blank space in our minds because of how overwhelming it was with the pandemic. There was racial unrest. There was, we had killer wasps going on. I mean, there was a lot going on in that time frame. Right. So it kind of seems like a perfect backdrop to explore some of these deeper issues going on. Right.
It forced a lot of decision-making, or it felt like decision-making was being forced on people. How it's described in the book and how it's told in the book is a refreshed look at what the possibilities are for your life. And a lot of people, we had the Great Resignation. A lot of people were leaving jobs and changing careers, and the future, the existence of work change with remote working. And these guys in this book go through all of that and start looking at what their future would be or could be with fresh eyes that the pandemic forced on all of us back then.
Walk us through a little bit of the story, because that's just the backdrop. But the meat of this story is really about two people and them kind of navigating all of this together.
Right. I tend to write stories about unusual friendships, and this is one of those. These two guys, well, one guy's a middle-aged white guy, and they're working at a tech company here in Indianapolis, and a young, fresh graduate from IU, sort of a genius type, have one thing in common, and that is jazz. They're both musicians, and they go to a show at the Jazz Kitchen and connect on that right before the pandemic starts, and they end up in what, if you remember, a friend pod together, and they're locked in together, and so their friendship grows out of that forced togetherness, and before long they start seeing the future through each other's eyes.
Wow. I love the idea that it's set in Indianapolis as well, because it's the crossroads of America. Right. There are a lot of different melting pots of culture here, and it is like the birthplace of jazz. Like, we love jazz music here in Indiana.
Oh, yes. Wes Montgomery has a prominent role in the book, so yeah.
What was that part of that? I mean, obviously you're from here, so that probably played a role as well, but how important was that as the setting for this?
While reading it, I don't think people will see that as something that jumps off the page as being important, but the truth is, I've been around a long time. I'm not young anymore, and Indianapolis is very much like a heartland city. Yeah. And so there are so many heartland cities that I think the experience was so similar for. That's why Indianapolis was a good place to just go ahead and do that. My next book's in Chicago, but this book made a lot of sense, and the people from Indy who read it so far really like seeing stories in the places where they've been.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Jazz Kitchen. I immediately thought of our friend Pavel and got very excited. So I'm excited to read it, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited to read it as well. The Edge of Motherland, we're going to link the story on our website, lifestylelive.tv, so that you guys can get your hands on it as well. Michael, when you finish the next book, come chat with us, okay?
And I won't come with an empty stomach.
Yeah, no, don't, because we have a ton of food. All right.